It's a warm welcome here in our studio in Sarakunda. This is Star TV News with me, Maimuna Fadera. In the headlines tonight, C-section deliveries during childbirth increased to over 18% at Kanifing Hospital. People of URR express words of gratitude to President Barrow for the construction of Basayurubawul Road. Youth Empowerment Project YEP set up $1 million fund to support young entrepreneurs. On the international scene, South Africa eases COVID-19 restrictions. Bolsonaro accused of exploiting COVID-19 for political gains. Questions asked about role of white protesters participating in the George Floyd protest. Well, those were the headlines, and now the news in details. During the past years, the number of women undergoing cesarean delivery during childbirth has increased to 18% at the Kanifing General Hospital due to the fact that this hospital is the main referral hospital within the Combos. Over the weekend, Star TV visited the hospital to substantiate the factor that leads to the C-section. Well, Matasengo reports.
The gynecologist at the Kanifing General Hospital, Dr. Josie T.K. Harris, gave an overview of what leads to C-section, noting that C-section is only performed on pregnant women when they could not give birth naturally by themselves.
So CS is a form of delivery when you deliver the fetus using incision, that is to say you make an opening on the abdomen, an abdominal wall, and also on the uterus, the womb itself. You make an incision there, you make an opening to open so that you can get access to remove the baby. So in a nutshell, that is what this surgery entails. Now to your question proper, why the increased rate in cesarean section? So when you say increase in rate, I would have loved to speak using facts and figures. So what is the rate of cesarean section in the Gambia? I don't think anybody has done any research to show that. Maybe that is a challenge to me myself. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about here is that why is there an increase in rate? So according to you, you're saying there is an increase in rate. I have not found any scientific data showing that there is an increase in rate, but yes, of course, where I'm working here, you would find out that the rate of cesarean section is going up, is going up, but yet still it's within the normal accepted range. So you want to ask me, what is a normal accepted range? WHO, that is to say the World Health Organization, advises or recommends that cesarean section rate should not be more than 15 to 20% of your total number of deliveries.
C-section is one of the factors that decrease the rate of maternal mortality in the country. However, the advancement in technology has played a significant role in equipping the process of C-section.
So people have been updated. So we now know so much of danger signs. Okay, we now both danger signs to the mother and to the fetus. So in case we see signs during labor that indicates that something, both mother and baby would be at risk or are at risk of something, we intervene. That is to say, if, for example, a woman has some complications and cannot deliver vaginally, then we intervene to help so that the woman can deliver a healthy baby and the woman herself comes out healthy.
Vaginal disorder is one of the main factors which leads to the birth failure after 9 months of pregnancy. Moreover, researchers have proven that most women, especially in Africa, do insert some toxic substances into their sex organs to serve as a form of spice to satisfy their sexual desires, and this issue can lead to a lot of complications during birth. For Star TV News, I am Mati Senghor.
The people of CRR who expressed their happiness and gratitude to President Adama Barrow for donating them with food items at this difficult moment said they all received their food items on time and in big quantities. Jacqueline Colley files in this report.
Speaking to Star FM CRR correspondent Siaka Sinera, Bamba Dukure, a native of Sukura village, said they are very happy with the food donated by President Barrow and his government, indicating that they all received their food items in a very transparent way, describing President Barrow as a humble person with good leadership qualities. Abdul Kidere Silla, son of the Alcalo of Sukuru village, opined that they cannot pay President Barrow for this humble gesture accorded to them. Silla added that this kind of donation is best so far because some family members receive more than 4 bags of sugar and 4 bags of rice, including the cooking oil respectively, and everybody in CRR are happy with the president's food distribution. Many speakers spoke to Star FM radio to show their appreciation and happiness to President Barrow for providing them with food supply. In Basse, URR, the people that told this medium that they have received their food items which were successfully distributed on time. They thanked President Barrow and his government for the huge supply he brought to their community. Honorable Mohamed Magasi, National Assembly member for Basse, expressed his happiness to the government for providing his people with food relief, highlighting that his people has relieved their share abundantly with fair sharing. The people of Kantora, Tumana, Jimare, Wuli and Sandu all expressed their happiness to President Barrow. Jacqueline Colley, reporting for Star TV News.
The EU-funded Youth Empowerment Project in partnership with Kanifing Municipal Council under the leadership of Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda and the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry has set up $1 million fund to sponsor solutions to help overcome difficulties during this pandemic for young entrepreneurs. Our reporter Maria Madam attended the handing over today at the KMC premises and she now reports.
The initiative is part of the KMC's Mayo Challenge Take Fee and project, supporting young entrepreneurs with innovative business solutions to tackle COVID-19 challenge in the Gambia. The fund will support innovative young entrepreneurs that have developed smart and effective business solutions that tackle socio-economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and help the Gambia economy adapt and recover. The collaborators believe that the Gambia has faces unprecedented socio-economic challenges due to the coronavirus outbreak. Small businesses are most harshly affected through production constraint, supply chain disruption, lack of funding, loss of markets, and many other disruptions. At the same time, entrepreneurs are problem solvers by trade, and the business community is well placed to tackle of these challenges through concerted efforts and collaboration. Speaking at the launching ceremony, the mayor of KMC, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, describes the initiative as a landmark occasion and further explains that his council is committed to stopping the spread of the deadly virus and mitigate the impact of the global pandemic on the livelihood of residents.
The Kanifing Municipal Council is pleased to welcome you here today to announce the winners of KMC's Mayor's Challenge, Tekifi and Andor. The launching of this $1 million fund for young entrepreneurs tackling issues related to COVID-19 is a landmark occasion. The Council is committed to stopping the spread of coronavirus and mitigating the impacts of the global pandemic on the livelihoods of our residents. The Council acted early to get ahead of this virus through public sensitization and relief efforts. The COVID-19 response in the municipality is led by a task force at KMC, partnering with the Ministry of Health, the National Disaster Management Agency, Red Cross, the Gambia Police Force, and other stakeholders. The task force prepared and launched KMC's Emergency Action Plan for COVID-19, which is composed of 3 pillars. The first was public sensitization, second was stopping the spread, and third was to ease the economic and hunger burden.
Mayor Bensouda further says that at the conception of this fund, his council identified 3 primary problems in the municipality related to COVID-19, that would benefit from the private sector solutions, such as the restriction placed upon markets, the transportation restriction, which limits revenue for drivers, and the closure of schools. He also says his council is proud of all the applicants, and as a youth and a businessman, he encouraged the applicants to continue working on their business plans.
The council is immensely proud of the quantity and quality of applications received during this process. The talent of our young people and their business acumen shine through in the nearly 50 applications received. As a youth and business person myself, I would like to personally encourage all those who applied to the fund to continue working on their ideas and business plans. Take steps towards overcoming the hurdles placed before you and continue to strive onwards towards your goals. Our municipality needs your ideas. We need your leadership to solve the problems of today and tomorrow.
The EU ambassador to the Gambia, Atela Lajos, says the European Union is pleased to support this initiative for so many reasons and describe it as a great initiative to tackle some of these challenges.
The KMC Mayor's Challenge is a great initiative to tackle some of these challenges by developing concrete solutions and providing seed capital to implement them. The European Union is pleased to support this initiative for a number of reasons, and I would like to take this opportunity to list 5 of them. First, the Challenge Fund has identified very concrete issues that hamper the socio-economic development in the municipality. Whether they are related to the closure of markets or schools, the proposals provided a good glimpse into the issues encountered by KMC residents and visitors alike. Secondly, the initiative supports and empowers the local private sector to be the first responders in this crisis. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers by trade. They are uniquely positioned to develop solutions that are not just efficient and effective, but also sustainable. We need a thriving private sector to achieve the objectives of the socio-economic development as envisaged in the National Development Plan. Thirdly, the KMC Challenge is youth-focused. It leverages the innovation, creativity, and drive of the nation's youthful population. It doesn't just create jobs and income for young people, it empowers young entrepreneurs to be at the forefront of creating jobs. For it is the youth of this country that will elevate the nation.
While jubilating upon receiving the money, one of the winners, Lamin Diba, the manager of Le Jumbo, shows appreciation and says this fund will help their businesses as they have been facing financial difficulties and further encourage youth to work hard in order to achieve something in life.
Well, this money will take us a long way because one of our problems is finance. Since we started operating, Le Jumbo was launched on the 1st of September 2019, and one of our constraints was finance. So at least with this award, it will really move the company to another level. Yeah. Well, young people, the advice that I have for them is to go out from their comfort zones. Opportunities are outside because this country, we are the future, so therefore we should be innovative because everything cannot be done by the government. So as entrepreneurs, the market is open there for us. So you just need the idea, then you will have the funds. And you need to believe in yourself. The journey is always tough, but with determination and hard work, then success will always be a reality.
The initiative was done in an application process, and through this, the winners were selected after submitting their application forms with a video of their proposal. The winners are Le Jumbo, Gisgo Education, and Abdus Media. The $1 million was shared among the 3 winners depending on the budget they wrote on the application form. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Mariam Adem.
The people in the settlement of Wuli and Basse in Upper River region have expressed their gratitude and satisfactory to President Adama Barrow for the construction of the Basse-Yoruba Road. Matasengor sent in this report.
Mr. Bahore Drame, a native of URR, said URR was neglected by previous regimes for 52 years, especially Wuli and Sanduk, which were abandoned, but thanks to the government of President Barrow, who didn't neglect the people of the URR, but rather considered them.
We, the people of URR, we are definitely very much thankful to this present government, the definitely they have created a lot of development outside, especially these road constructions, which is a very, very paramount thing. It's very important to the people of that area. You know, we can talk about a lot of benefits that road network has brought to the people of URR.
He said Basse Yorubawa Road will not only help Woolies but entire URR, especially Wooli and Senduk, while indicating that URR will never let President Barrow down and will continue to pray for him to emerge victorious in the upcoming election. It could be recalled in November 2019, President Adama Barrow laid the foundation stone for the construction of the road which connects Yorubawal and Basse. The 13-kilometer road will link the district of Wooli in Upper River region north through the Basse-Wooli Bridge under construction to the southern part of the region. However, Drame went on to talk about the benefits of constructing this road, as it will help improve the agricultural system, as women who harvest their food and lack storage facilities can easily take their food items to sell them to various markets without complications. He also talked about the difficulties they face in their hospitals.
From that end, going to the main hospital at Bansang or Basse, sometimes it takes you, a lot of hours before you reach. And having with that sick person, at least you need to reach earlier to take care of the sick person. So all those burden has gone. A lot of things also, like women, you have your, garden materials that you harvest, you wanted to take them to the other side, to purchase them, to sell them. Also you have that difficulties, you take them for days, there's no proper storage system, all be spoiled. So all those things, and you can count a lot of things. All those things has gone. So they were all, burden to us. Yeah.
After being neglected and sidelined by previous governments since independence, the region is witnessing a major infrastructural facelift as part of the government's effort to revitalize the regional economy. He further went on to advise the people of URR, especially the drivers, to run at low speed to avoid accidents and spoiling the road. If all hands are on deck, then together they can build a better nation. According to the contractors, the Basse Yorubawa Road is expected to be completed in 3 months' time with standard roads, as roads are among the most important assets in any country, and keeping them in good working condition is obviously critical. For Star TV News, I am Mati Senghor.
And we now look at the news beyond our borders. South Africa has eased some restrictions 2 months after it started one of the strictest lockdowns on the continent. The partial lifting of measures allows more people to return to work, and places of worship have reopened. But restarting schools have been postponed by a week after teachers' union complained that not enough has been done to keep students safe. Well, Al Jazeera's Faminda Mila reports from Johannesburg in South Africa.
Some parents in the Western Cape province are angry that schools there have reopened. They say staff are not prepared to keep students safe 2 months into a national lockdown that's kept people indoors except for essential services or to buy food. Across the rest of South Africa, schools remained closed, a last-minute decision by the government now postponing the reopening for a week.
Our main concerns were the non-compliance by the schools in terms of the COVID-19 regulations that have been published by our government. And around those particular issues were the issues that deal with health and the safety of our learners, as well as our workers and the teachers in our schools.
The government's eased other restrictions, including the ban on the sale of alcohol, which will be sold for consumption at home on specified days and during certain hours, but the sale of tobacco products is still prohibited. The government has been under pressure to reopen the economy, which was already in recession before the lockdown began. It's estimated that millions will lose their jobs if the strict measures are extended. Most industries have reopened, with more than 8 million South Africans returning to work under what the government calls strict health protocols. But as millions of people use public transport to get to and from work, there are concerns that social distancing may not be possible. Restaurants, bars and cinemas remain shut. The owners of this restaurant in Johannesburg say they've had to improvise to keep their business going, transforming it into a health food emporium. It may be months before restaurants can open their doors.
Previously, our business was about 90% of the sit-down business of the restaurant. So we realized that we couldn't kind of wait. We don't have the resources to wait that long. So we needed to look for a new way to actually generate revenue.
The government has identified hotspots around the country, including major cities such as Johannesburg, Durban and Cape Town. It says that while the lockdown has been eased, the restrictions in these cities will be revised every 2 weeks. With more than 30,000 infections, there are concerns that South Africa is months away from hitting the peak of the pandemic. Health experts say that could happen between July and November, causing at least 40,000 deaths. The worry now is that a lack of adequate preparation might worsen the outcome. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
Social media has captured thousands of encounters between protesters, looters and police, some future white demonstrators committing violence and vandalism while ignoring pleas from black protesters to stop. That has opened a tense conversation about the role of non-blacks in the protest, who is responsible for acts of violence and destruction and why. Well, Al Jazeera's Heidi Zu Castro reports from Washington, D.C.
A black woman tries to cry stop to a group of white looters in Oakland, but the chaos drowns her out.
This is not a black woman who's putting Black Lives Matter.
Two non-black protesters vandalize a cafe, but the African Americans whose lives are actually on the line fear they'll pay.
Listen, don't spray stuff on here when they're gonna blame black people for this, and black people didn't do it.
And in Denver,
stop! This is not what we wanted. Stop!
Black activist and school board director Tay Anderson intervened when he saw a white man defacing public property.
I do get very frustrated when those who aren't people of color are destroying things in our name, and we end up getting the blame for it, but we didn't ask for it.
George Floyd! George Floyd!
The daytime protests organized by black civil rights groups have been largely peaceful across the U.S. But the nighttime rioting has involved people of all races. Whether the non-blacks are allies, anarchists, or even white supremacists, as some have accused, is unclear.
We do have to write our own stories, and part of that is, yes, letting us be the voice.
The divisions here are not simple. Protesters of various races in Washington, D.C. attacked a white man after he destroyed a sidewalk. Then they turned him into police. And a young white woman jumped in front of a young black man near the White House, blocking him from advancing police. The widely shared clip showed a moment of racial solidarity, even as many black Americans insist they write this chapter of their own history. Heidi Jo Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.
In Brazil, there has been violence between protesters and supporters of President Jair Bolsonaro in Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. Some have accused the president and his supporters of exploiting the coronavirus pandemic for political gains. Brazil have reported a record of 33,000 infections on a single day, bringing the total number of cases to half a million. While Al Jazeera's Priyanka Gupta reports.
Violence, tear gas, and smoke. This is one of the main roads in Brazil's financial capital, Sao Paulo, and one of the largest demonstrations against President Jair Bolsonaro in months. Protesters on one side, supporters of the president not far away. The police determined to keep the two apart.
They started dispersing the crowd and shooting whoever was in front of them. The funny thing is, there's a demonstration back there, pro-Bolsonaro, and the police aren't doing anything with them. It's a totally different treatment.
A similar scene in Rio de Janeiro, but this time the rival groups and the police faced off. Bolsonaro is under an investigation authorized by the Supreme Court, and his supporters have been rallying for weeks.
Eu estou aqui defendendo a liberdade de ir e vir. I'm here to defend freedom, the freedom to come and go, political freedom to support right-wing politicians, and against the institutional coup that the Supreme Federal Court, with the Deputies Chamber, are trying to lay upon this nation.
And in Brasilia, the target of the criticism rides on horseback, without a mask, rallying supporters outside the presidential palace. On a day when the country reported a record rise in the number of infections to more than 500,000. The protesters say instead of fighting the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country, the president is exploiting it.
The truth is that we are witnessing an authoritarian escalation in the country. We understand that the current government can use the pandemic for these authoritarian ends. They are betting on chaos.
Jair Bolsonaro and his supporters have repeatedly criticized state governors who impose lockdowns. He wants to reopen the economy. But the disease that he once called a little flu is killing more Brazilians and deepening political divisions. Priyanka Gupta, Al Jazeera.
Well, before we end the news, a recap of our main headlines. C-section deliveries during childbirth increases to over 18% at Carnifing Hospital. People of URR express words of gratitude to President Barrow for the construction of Basa-Yorubawa route. Youth Empowerment Project YEP set up $1 million fund to support young entrepreneurs. South Africa eases COVID-19 restrictions. Bolsonaro accused of exploiting COVID-19 for political gains. Questions asked about role of white protesters participating in George Floyd's protest. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Please do enjoy the rest of our programs and do join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night.